I'm going to be talking to you guys today about what's an OML and Army ROTC. So OML stands for Order of Merit List, and what it essentially does is it ranks its cadets in each respective program. So the highest rated cadet all the way down to its lowest rated cadet, and it goes by year. So if you're a senior, it'll rank you on the OML compared to the other seniors in your class. So there's basically an OML for your specific school, and then there's a national OML. So the national OML can ranks you against all cadets in the entire nation. So I'm not going to really be talking about the national one today. I'm honestly not too familiar with it yet because I still need to go through the process of it. But basically, what that does is if you're applying for active duty in the Army and you're applying for a specific job and location and things like that and branch, it'll help you to get that job based on what your OML is. But like I said, I'm not going to be talking about that today. I'm really just going to be talking about the OML specific to your school and why I think it's important. So basically, I'll be talking about the OML at New Mexico Military Institute to use as an example for you guys. So when I first got to Army ROTC, when classes started after a basic camp, I learned pretty quickly about what the OML is. So I learned that basically we're going to all of the cadets in the program are going to get ranked. So I played basketball all through high school, and then when I got to college, I stopped, but I still had that like competitive drive when I got to ROTC, and I kind of wanted to apply that competitiveness elsewhere. So when I saw that we would get ranked, immediately I was like, my new college goal as a freshman is going to try to be the number one on the OML system. So at first it was like this kind of personal endeavor to just prove to myself that I could be the top ranked cadet in the program. But as time went on, it became more about kind of holding myself to a really high standard because I'm going to be an officer. And so basically that's what I want to talk to you guys about in this video, why it's important that I think you try to compete for a high spot in the OML in your program. So it's really not about like uh, getting impressing other people or anything like that, or getting recognition. For you as an individual, if you're striving to be an officer in the Army, I think that you should try to hold yourself to the highest absolute standard possible because you are looked upon as an officer as like basically the top in the military and the standard for the military. And not that I don't love the Army or anything like that. I just think that you should respect your obligation to hold yourself to that standard and your duty as an officer. So, like I said, that's why you should try in the OML out of respect for what you're going to be and what your rank is going to be in the Army. Okay, so now I'm going to talk to you guys about kind of how I ended up getting to that number one OML spot for my 2 years in New Mexico Military Institute. So I'm going to talk about how it worked at NIMI, but it might change at different programs, but I'm sure what I'm saying can still give you can still hold true for other programs. So basically when I was at NIMI, the way we were going to get ranked was 40% of the ranking was going to be on your GPA, 20% was on your physical fitness, and then the other 40% was based upon your like leadership attributes and how you served as the leader. So to be honest, I really just felt like the best way to do it would to just be have a 4.0 GPA and be the top fitness guy because those are quantifiable results that my cadre were going to see. And I think that might be true at other programs. Like if you have a 4.0 and you're the top fitness guy or one of the top fitness guys, it's like a really direct thing that they can notice and it's on paper. So I think that's one of the fastest ways to do it. So essentially what I did was I for all 4 semesters in NIMI, I had a 4.0 and I was always the top fitness guy or at least second or third each semester in fitness. So I was at least up there at all times. So that's what pushed me to be the number one on the OML at NIMI. So if your school has a similar ranking, those are my two strongest recommendations. But I'm pretty sure on my time out when I was leaving NIMI that they had switched it to 60% leadership and then like 20% GPA, 20% PT. I'm not really sure. So the leadership one is a little more subjective to me, so I'm not really sure how to kind of offer advice on that type of system. I would still say focus on your GPA and PT because that's still quantifiable results that'll show kind of what standard you're holding yourself to an individual through academics and PT. Um, I know like at other schools, like one of the kids I went to aerosol with, he was talking about it at his program. It was like his grades didn't really matter as much for his school's OML. It was more like your PT they really looked at and how much you participate in Army's like extracurricular program. So like this thing called like Ranger Challenge, or if they have other fitness events like at NIMI we used to have the it was called like the Death March or something. It was like a 26-mile ruck through White Sands. Like I never participated in any of that stuff because like I said, my cadre didn't really grade our OML based upon that. But I would just kind of, whatever school you go to, try to like figure out what they really look for and what's going to get you the most OML points or most OML recognition. So besides from the fact that it's important to hold yourself to that standard because you're going to be an officer and you're leading the enlisted, so you should hold yourself to the highest standard. It'll also benefit you a lot in your program to be a high OML. So for me, the things that benefited me being on the OML was when I was an MS4, I got the positions I applied for. So I was executive officer first semester, and I was S4 second semester, both positions that I had wanted. And because of my ranking on the OML, I was pretty much given those positions. Like I knew I was going to get them. Also, we some schools get slots for certain schools in the summer, so like specialty schools. So after I did my advanced camp training, I was able to go to Air Assault as a cadet because the top OML guy at my school, or like the top 3 or 4 people on the OML got a specialty school slot. So there's like 3 or 4 of us who went to Air Assault. So there's also like a lot of practical benefits to being on the top of your OML. Uh, yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's basically my tip on how to be the top OML in your school. Like I said, it's probably going to vary from school to school. See what their system is, talk to the older cadets, and see what they target. But ultimately, like I said, you should go look for those quantifiable results. So PT and GPA are two of the most like easily definable things for what type of standard you hold yourself to as an individual. And like I said, I really would recommend that if you're considering doing Army ROTC or you're in it right now, to take that role really seriously because once you become a lieutenant in the Army, like I said, you're looked upon as like kind of the highest echelon of the Army as an officer, and you should respect that duty and obligation to it by trying your best. So even now, as a second lieutenant in the National Guard, like I don't really have that many responsibilities in my unit yet. I've only been to a few drills, but it's still the same thing. I carry myself to a high standard. I'm still trying to be the top PT guy in my unit because I feel like I have the obligation to be as a new officer. So yeah, those are my. I hope you guys can take away something from this video.